The story begins with a quick flashback about Rentaro, who has 100 soulmates, and how Rentaro gradually makes each soulmate his girlfriend. Right now, he has 6 girlfriends. One day, Hakari gathers everyone and states that relationships often hit a phase of boredom after 3 months. Fast forward to the present, it's been more than 3 months since this all started dating Rentaro, and now it's a big problem. The other girls start to worry. Hakari mentions she's only been on 2 dates with Rentaro so far. Karani panics, thinking Rentaro might get bored of her. The other girls feel the same. To fix this, Hakari says she has a plan to fix this problem. Just then, Futsuri comes in and tells them that she has created a reborn self-medicine. She claims it will make Rentaro love them as if it's the first time. While she mixes the formula, there's suddenly a huge blast. Hearing the blast, Rentaro runs to the scene in a panic. He shouts that it's only been a few minutes since the episode started, and they already caused trouble. A shocking twist follows. Everyone's souls have swapped bodies. Rentaro becomes worried as the girls explain what happened. They admit they were trying to experiment with the medicine to make him love them more, but it backfired. Rentaro decides they need to figure out who's in whose body. Hakari wakes up in Nama's body, and it's clear she has no idea how to control it. She walks awkwardly toward Rentaro and grabs onto him for balance. Rentaro immediately realizes it's Hakari. Meanwhile, Kuzuri, now in Hakari's body, is full of energy. She starts bouncing around but suddenly feels an unusual urge to relieve herself. Thinking she's still in her own body and wearing a diaper, she gets ready to go. Nana, who is in Shizuka's body, quickly stops her and drags her to the bathroom. Rentaro figures out Kuzuri is in Hakari's body. Next, Rentaro looks for who's in Kusuri's body and sees Hakari rolling on the floor, bouncing excitedly. She is happy that she can go wild in her new body. Without needing an explanation, Rentaro knows it's Hakari. Meanwhile, Karani, now in Harry's body, is having too much fun. She starts playing with her chest, then yells at Rentaro to stop staring. Rentaro immediately recognizes her as Karani. As for who's in Karani's body, Rentaro notices someone standing quietly with a calm, shy smile. It's Shizuka. Her aura gives her away even though she can't speak. Finally, Rentaro realizes Nano is in Shizuka's body. Now that he's sorted everyone out, Rentaro wonders how to fix this. But the girls are too busy enjoying their new bodies. Suddenly, Hari, still in Kusuri's body, announces that only a miracle, a kiss from the prince, can solve this problem. Hari pulls Rentaro onto her lap and gently pets his head, telling him that good boys like Rentaro deserve treats. Before anyone can stop her, she kisses him. Following this, her soul leaves Kusuri's body, leaving everyone shocked. After that, Nano, who is in Shizuka's body, walks up to Rentaro. She gently asks him to lower his head and tells him not to worry. Without hesitation, Shizuka kisses Rentaro. As soon as she does, Nano's soul leaves Shizuka's body. Next, it's Kusuri's turn. She steps up to Rentaro, standing unusually close. Since she's in Hakari's body, she can't help but admire how graceful and curvy it feels. Rentaro quickly stops her and tells her to kiss him already. Kusuri follows his order and kisses him, causing her soul to leave Hakari's body. Then Shizuka nervously steps forward, asking Rentaro when her turn will come. Rentaro starts sweating nervously. Shizuka notices and shows concern, but Rentaro reassures her he's fine. He braces himself as she kisses him, which causes Shizuka's soul to leave Karani's body. Rentaro looks around for who is next. Hahari, still in Kusuri's body, believes they should end this mess already. Rentaro finds her cute, which annoys her even more. She starts walking away, saying she's going back to class, but Rentaro stops her and asks for one last chance. Harari blushes and lets Rentaro kiss her. Hahari's soul leaves Kusuri's body. Finally, it's Hakari's turn. Standing in Nama's body, she finds the atmosphere so romantic. With a heartfelt look, she confesses her feelings to Rentaro. Smiling warmly, Rentaro kisses her. With that, Hakari's soul leaves Nama's body and everyone returns to their original forms. Once everyone is back to normal, they become relieved. The girls are excited while Rentaro stands in the middle, breathing heavily. He's amused, thinking about how he just got 6 kisses from 6 different girls in such a short time. Hakari asks Rentaro how he feels about today's little experiment. Rentaro admits that it was fun. Hakari felt relieved as it wasn't exactly what she planned, but at least they made the day special. Rentaro smiles and says he loves all of them just the way they are. The girls are surprised by his sweet words and suddenly rush toward him, taking turns kissing him again and again. Rentaro realizes that fate won't let him off with just 6 kisses today. The scene shifts to a girl walking alone. Meanwhile, Rentaro is in the cafeteria deciding what to eat. His eyes land on some egg toast and he lights up with excitement. As he reaches for it, his hand bumps into someone else's. He looks up and his eyes meet a strange girl. Suddenly, a soulmate current flows between them and Rentaro gets to know she is his 7th soulmate. When Rentaro notices her uniform and realizes she's a middle schooler, the girl defends herself, saying there's no rule against middle schoolers visiting the high school cafeteria. Rentaro, still processing everything, tells her to go ahead. The girl checks her pockets for money to buy the egg toast but finds nothing. She becomes embarrassed and walks away without buying egg toast. Later, sitting on a bench, the girl feels her stomach growl. She looks upset, with no money to buy food. Suddenly, Rentaro shows up, holding the same egg toast. He offers her half. The girl is annoyed, thinking he's being creepy. Rentaro calmly explains that he changed his mind about eating it and thought of sharing it instead. At first, she refuses, saying she doesn't take food from strangers, but her growling stomach betrays her. After a moment of hesitation, she accepts. Before eating, she clasps her hands together and gives thanks for the food. As she takes a bite, her face lights up with joy. She savors every bite, admitting she heard her friends talk about a movie where someone ate this and wanted to know how it tasted. She apologized for being rude earlier, explaining she was just really hungry. Rentaro reassures her it's no big deal. As she eats, she starts opening up about her struggles. She shares how she always feels tempted to eat whatever she sees or hears about, making life hard for her. To resist, she usually wears a hoodie and headphones to block out tempting sights and sounds. The girl explains right now she removed them because she wanted to fully enjoy the experience. It's her way of respecting the food. When she finishes, she clasps her hands together again to give thanks and gets up to leave. Rentaro quickly calls out, asking for her name. The girl turns with an irritated look and accuses him of flirting with her. As she walks away, she feels her heart is racing. The next day at lunch, the girl walks angrily through the hallway as she hears her classmates talking non-stop about a sandwich. Everyone's excited about it, and it's driving her crazy. The girl suddenly craves one and rushes to the cafeteria to buy it, but it's already sold out. Just then, Rentaro shows up and asks about her craving. Annoyed, she questions why he's in the middle school cafeteria. Rentaro defends there's no rules stopping him from being there and explains he came for the same sandwich, only to find it sold out there too. Noticing similar sandwiches on the shelf, Rentaro suggests trying one of those instead. The girl decides to leave and get the sandwich from a convenience store. Rentaro stops her, reminding her that middle school students aren't allowed to leave campus during recess. He offers to go for her instead. The girl becomes furious and tells him to stay out of her business and leave her alone. Later, the girl is seen coming out of the convenience store empty-handed. The sandwich is sold out there too. Hungry and upset, she wonders how it could be sold out everywhere. Her frustration builds as she starts to blame herself for being irritated, snaps at people, and ends up feeling lonelier than before. As she walks, she thinks about Rentaro. Despite how kind he was, she had pushed him away too. She feels hungry, angry, and convinced there's nothing good about her. With nothing else to do, she decides to return to school. When she arrives at the gate, she sees Rentaro waiting for her at the school gate. Rentaro tells the girl to follow him. The girl becomes curious and goes along. When she sees the sandwich she's been craving right in front of her, she's stunned. Her anger flares up and she snaps at Rentaro, saying that she doesn't need his help. But Rentaro calmly says he needs her help with the other half, just like yesterday. Hungry, the girl gives in and starts eating. Instantly, she feels happy and finds the sandwich delicious. She asks how Rentaro found the sandwich. Rentaro explains that he got permission to make it himself. He even shares the recipe, showing how much effort he put into it. That's when she notices his hands are burned from cooking. The girl becomes sad and asks why Rentaro is being so kind to her, especially after how rude she was to him. She points out that he doesn't even know her name. Afterward, Rentaro talks to his girlfriends about Kurumi, asking if they would accept her as his 7th girlfriend. The girls express concerns about Kurumi's personality. Rentaro explains that Kurumi tends to get irritable when she's hungry, which can make her seem unfriendly. Suddenly, Kurumi interrupts, stating that, aside from Rentaro, she has no interest in talking to anyone else. The other girls become worried about how she might fit into their dynamic. Nano, staying calm and logical, points out that arguing about inefficiency won't help the situation. This sparks doubt among the group, with some wondering if they're really as close as they thought and whether their friendships might change. Nano reassures them by revealing she doesn't spend time with them out of obligation, but because she genuinely loves and values each of them. The girls are touched and express their love and appreciation for Nano. Rentaro then shares exciting news: a food festival is coming up and the prize money is substantial. He suggests they all enter together. However, Kurumi decides that she doesn't need anyone else and plans to compete alone. She believes teaming up with small eaters will only slow her down and lead to unnecessary conflict. Ahara tells Kurumi that middle school students need a guardian to participate in the festival. Kurumi realizes that both her parents work on Sundays, but still wants to enter. Kurumi finally asks Ahara if she could pretend to be her mom and sign her up. Ahara happily agrees. With that, they all decide to join the competition together. The food festival begins and everyone gathers for the competition. The rules are simple. Each team has 10 players and there are 5 rounds. Players can switch in and out anytime, and the team with the highest score at the end wins. The commentator explains the rules with bold visuals to keep the audience entertained. Karani is annoyed by the commentator. Rentaro enters the competition to help everyone get to know each other, especially Kurumi, and make sure everyone works well together. The first round begins, and the challenge is to eat as much rice as possible. The side dishes don't count for points. The goal is to eat as much rice as they can. Kajiri encourages everyone to eat, but Hakari worries about getting too full after the qualifiers. However, Kurumi confidently says she'll qualify on her own and pushes others aside. This makes everyone mad, and Karani thinks Kurumi is calling them useless. Rentaro steps in to calm things down and hopes Kurumi will work with the team. He decides to take things slow and suggests they all play together. The round starts, and Rentaro and Kurumi begin eating rice. Rentaro notices that Kurumi hasn't taken a bite yet. He starts panicking and sees her staring at a side dish. He gets an idea and brings it to her, suggesting she try both the rice and the side dish. Kurumi speeds up and starts eating faster. Soon, everyone is shocked by their speed and mistakenly thinks Kurumi has already finished the side dish. Everyone laughs at what they think is a mistake. This annoys Rentaro, and he demands to know who said that. Hakari tries to calm him down while having fun, and Karani steps in to separate them. Karani asks Rentaro about his plan. Rentaro asks everyone to watch Kurumi eat. When they do, they realize she has a special way of making the food look so delicious. Watching Kurumi, the others rush to get side dishes too. Karani soon figures out that it was part of Rentaro's plan all along. As the rounds continue, Rentaro and Kurumi keep eating lots of rice. Bowl after bowl is brought to them, and they keep going. Karani is amazed by Rentaro's appetite and wonders how he can eat so much. Nano comments that he should be getting sick of it. Hakari tells him not to overdo it. Rentaro explains that the girls take turns serving him rice, and even though the bowls look the same, each one tastes different to him. Once again, the girls are touched by Rentaro's words. Rentaro and Kurumi start eating even faster, and the others watch in surprise and wonder if these two are truly monsters. Finally, the first round ends and the results are announced. Rentaro's team comes in third place, meaning they qualify for the next round. Rentaro is upset, wondering how they ended up in third. However, the others praise Kurumi for her great performance, saying she ate in a unique way. The Guerrilla Syndicate claims second place, which you might remember from Season 1. The team in first place is Chenkanami Shiki, who is competing alone. Everyone is surprised to know that this person is playing solo, while everyone else is in teams. Chanko looks and sounds like a robot, and the character animation has been slightly changed compared to the manga. Afterward, the commentator announces the next major round of the food festival, which is a classic eating contest. This time, the food is bubble tea. Rentaro wonders when bubble tea became the classic choice. He asks his team who will enter the first round. Hakari praises Rentaro for his performance and suggests he take a rest. However, Kurumi declares that she will join every round. Rentaro advises her to let others participate as she can't handle every round. Kurumi ignores Rentaro's advice. Eventually, Shizuka decided to join Kurumi in the first round. The first round begins, and the participants start drinking the bubble tea. At first, they enjoy it, but after 10 minutes, it becomes clear that this contest isn't about appetite, it's a jaw endurance challenge. The tea is so chewy that they're exhausting their jaws trying to keep chewing. Kurumi struggles and realizes it's getting harder to keep going. She looks over at Shizuka, who is drinking smoothly. Karani wonders how Shizuka is drinking the tea so well. Rentaro explains that Shizuka has the tiniest mouth. The other girls notice Shizuka is drinking the tea perfectly. He is taking tiny sips by cutting the tea into smaller pieces. Karani remembers how Shizuka always eats this way and realizes it's the perfect method for this challenge. They conclude that Shizuka is well trained for this kind of contest. In the first round, Rentaro's team holds second place. The second round starts, and the challenge is to eat 10 pieces of sushi. This time, Nano joins Kurumi to help her. They begin eating. Kurumi finds the sushi delicious, but Rentaro reminds her there's no time to enjoy it. She struggles to eat quickly without savoring the taste. Kurumi watches Nano eating the sushi at an incredible speed. Karani notices that Nano isn't chewing the sushi, she's just swallowing it whole. While the Guerrilla Syndicate and Kurumi slow down, Nano and Chenko Solo are nearly finished with their 10th piece. Both reach for their last piece, but Chenko finishes first. Karani wonders why Nano isn't done and learns that she's eaten so much that she feels like she's about to vomit. Meanwhile, the Guerrilla Syndicate team is catching up. Nano realizes she has no choice but to keep going. She starts running away from the table with sushi in hand. Rentaro asks where she's going. Nano climbs some stairs and stands on stage, leaving everyone curious about her move. Rentaro reveals that Nano is afraid of heights. Nano, terrified, stands at the top but knows she must finish the challenge. She decides to eat the sushi in her hand, and the crowd cheers, calling her Rapunzel in the tower. Nano finally eats the sushi, but now she's scared and doesn't know how to get down. Rentaro rushes to her, helping her down safely. In the end, Rentaro's team secures second place in the second round. In the third round, the challenge is to eat spicy mapo tofu. Karani, proud of her spice tolerance, decides to help along with Kusuri. Everyone dives in without hesitation, but Karani aggressively eats her spicy mapo tofu. Eventually, Rentaro's team becomes the first to win this round. The fourth round begins a cake-eating contest. This time, Hikari and Hahari join Kurume to assist her. At first, everyone enjoys the cake, but Hikari quickly realizes there's too much sugar and warns about the risk of obesity from overconsumption. This scares the Gorilla Syndicate, and soon everyone stops eating except Kurumi and Chenko Solo. Karani becomes annoyed and points out that excessive sugar can even cause weight gain in specific areas like the chest. Hearing this, Hikari and Hahari resume eating, thinking that gaining weight might make them more attractive to Rentaro. In the fourth round, Rentaro's team holds second place. Rentaro praises his team, saying he has such talented girlfriends. The Gorilla Syndicate is shocked by how they keep eating. Rentaro explains that they couldn't have done it alone. It was all thanks to teamwork and love. Everyone agrees, but Kurumi, confused, wonders what he means. As the final round starts, Kurumi watches Rentaro press everyone's stomachs to help them digest since they're all in bad condition. She becomes irritated and tells Rentaro that he will feel the same way. He reassures her, saying that once everyone's condition improves, his will too. Kurumi, curious, asks how that works. Rentaro explains that it's the power of love. The commentator announces the final round, a ramen eating challenge. Bowls of ramen are served. Chenko Solo leads, but with double points in the final round, it's still anyone's game. For this round, Kurumi is the only player for her team since the others are in bad condition to continue. Rentaro apologizes for not being able to help, but Kurumi brushes it off, saying she never expected their help. A ramen lover, Kurumi starts strong and enjoys her meal. Meanwhile, the Gorilla Syndicate struggles with worsening conditions. The Gorilla Syndicate leader refuses to give up. She declares that she'll prove what the Gorilla Syndicate is truly made of. Her determination inspires her teammates who cheer her on from the sidelines. Fueled by the Gorilla Syndicate leader's words, the team gathers strength and re-enters the competition mid-game with the commentator's approval. As everyone continues eating, an ambulance arrives, marking the end of the Gorilla Syndicate's participation. They thank everyone for the experience before leaving the competition. Now only 2 participants remain, Solochenko and the Rentaro family. Both are at their 10th bowl and the competition intensifies. A shocking secret about Solochenko is that the large competitor isn't human but a robot controlled by a person inside. The human isn't actually eating but storing the food in a hidden section, essentially cheating. The solo competitor declares he will win no matter what. Kurumi and Solochenko continue eating, both managing to consume 25 bowls of ramen each. However, Kurumi starts to feel her condition worsen. Solochenko taunts her, mocking her for participating in every round and overeating. This approach leaves her no room for the final challenge. Kurumi feels defeated, admitting to herself that she already knew this. She regrets not trusting her teammates who ate more than she expected and feels like she's failed Rentaro. She feels demotivated and starts to cry. Just then, Rentaro and the other girls rise and join Kurumi at the table. Kurumi is surprised and asks why they're helping her. Rentaro explains that the rules allow it and reassures her to leave the rest of them. Kurumi becomes emotional and apologizes for the rude things she said earlier, but the others brush it off, saying it doesn't matter now. They're friends and they'll always support her. Rentaro emphasizes that it's the power of love. Encouraged by their words, Kurumi realizes her mistake and decides to keep fighting alongside them. The Chenko Solo, seeing the challenge intensifying, grows anxious. Desperate to win, the person inside the robot decides to stop cheating and begins eating ramen directly. The competition reaches its peak as everyone eats at a rapid speed, but one by one, they fall unconscious from the overwhelming amount of ramen. With only 5 seconds left, Kurumi pushes herself, determined to secure victory. Rentaro whispers something in her ear. First, Kurumi becomes scared, but then gathers her courage. She feeds the ramen to Rentaro, who swallows it quickly. The Chenko Solo, unable to keep up, spits out its ramen, securing the Rentaro family's victory. The Rentaro's team celebrates their win, receiving a trophy and ice cream as a prize. Kurumi, still feeling regretful, apologizes to everyone for her earlier behavior and asks for forgiveness. The others cheerfully feed her ice cream, solidifying their bond as teammates and friends. Later that evening, Rentaro meets Kurumi in the park. Kurumi thanks Rentaro for inviting her to the competition and helping her build a connection with everyone. She remembers Rentaro's promise to let her taste her favorite treat if they won. Then she kisses him and teasingly says that's how Rentaro tastes. Hikari has always seen her mother, Hahari, as the epitome of grace and elegance, a woman she's admired since childhood. However, today, her picture-perfect image is shattered as Hahari turns her attention to Hikari's school friends, enthusiastically offering them adorable baby clothes to try on. Hikari finds herself cringing in embarrassment at her mother. Eager to keep Hahari happy, Rentaro decides to play along, attempting to try on the baby clothes himself. But his efforts prove futile, as he is too big. Seeing this, Hahari enthusiastically suggests they try the baby clothes after taking a special babyfication medicine. To reassure everyone, Kuzuri casually mentions that she has also created a reversal medicine. The girls remain hesitant, refusing to risk their well-being for Hahari's whims. Frustrated by their reluctance, Hahari begins to whine and roll on the ground. Hikari, fed up with her mother's behavior, finally snaps. She scolds Hahari for being inconsiderate, pointing out that her antics are embarrassing her as a daughter. Hahari, trying to console her daughter, reassures her that Hikari is her most treasured person. She explains that while she plays a motherly role to everyone in their group, Hikari will always come first. Unfortunately, Hahari misses the point of Hikari's frustration entirely. Sensing the tension in the air, Kusuri decides to intervene and lighten the mood. She notices a cat nearby and, in an effort to grab everyone's attention, begins playing fetch with it. However, instead of using a stick, Kusuri tosses a vial of the babification medicine. The cat runs off and the vial shatters on the ground. To everyone's horror, the shattered vial begins to glow ominously. Rentaro quickly moves to shield Hikari, as the medicine releases a mysterious smoke. As the haze clears, Rentaro and Hikari are stunned to find that everyone else on the rooftop has been turned into babies. Panicking, Rentaro covers his eyes, declaring that seeing all his girlfriends unclothed even as babies would be improper. He and Hikari spring into action, hurriedly dressing the now-infant girls in baby clothes. As they care for the babies, Hikari's thoughts begin to wander. She grows flustered as she imagines married life with Rentaro and the possibility of having several children with him. Rentaro, oblivious to her fantasies, is entirely focused on doting over his girlfriends turned babies. Remembering Kusuri's earlier instructions, Rentaro notes that they need to wait an hour before administering the reversal medicine. Attempting to pick up baby Shizuka to play with her, Rentaro is startled when she crawls away, seemingly scared of him. After finally catching her, he gently rocks her and promises not to eat her. Meanwhile, baby Kuruma, hungry and curious, crawls over to Hikari. Her eyes fixate on Hikari's chest, and without warning, she latches onto Hikari. Flustered and alarmed, Hikari tries to pry Kurumi away while scolding her for her actions. However, the overwhelming sensation leaves Hikari unable to do much more than gasp in mild pain. Though Rentaro wants to help Hikari with the chaos unfolding, he notices baby Nano crawling toward the door. Alarmed, he rushes after her to stop her. However, Nano doesn't take kindly to being intercepted. Displeased, she retaliates by poking Rentaro in the eye. Rentaro yelps in pain and clutches his face. Meanwhile, Kusuri attempts to drink the reversal medicine prematurely despite her earlier warnings about the risks of taking it too soon. Rentaro, despite his stinging eye, scoots up Kusuri before she can down the vial, dragging her and Nano back to safety. But just as he manages that, Rentaro notices baby Shizuka crawling toward the door. Rentaro races after Shizuka. Hikari faces her own ordeal as baby Karani suddenly begins trying to draw milk from her chest as well. Noticing this, baby Kurumi, who doesn't want to share Hikari's attention, starts pushing Karani away. Karani, equally possessive, shoves Kurumi right back, and before long, the two babies are trying to hit each other, leaving Hikari stunned at their sudden aggression. Hikari attempts to intervene, raising her voice to demand that they stop. Though her stern tone does halt the fight, it causes both babies to burst into tears. Desperate to console them, Hikari bounces them gently in her arms, even trying to offer her chest again as a peace offering, but neither baby is calmed. As Hikari struggles, Hahari climbs onto Hikari's back and grabs a fistful of her hair. Hikari winces in pain, overwhelmed by having to care for multiple babies at once. She silently prays for this ordeal to end soon. To her surprise, baby Hahari momentarily pats Hikari's head, offering an oddly tender moment amidst the chaos. However, Kurumi and Karani start thrashing wildly in Hikari's arms, forcing her to let them go. Before they can hit the concrete ground, Rentaro dives in, catching both babies just in time. Kurumi and Karani start laughing uncontrollably at their brief fall. Seeing the baby's laughter, Hikari breathes a sigh of relief. Rentaro, noticing that his dramatic save amused the babies, comes up with an idea to keep them entertained. He begins repeatedly diving to the ground, face first, exaggerating his movements to elicit more laughter from the babies. Eventually, after laughing themselves out, all the babies fall asleep, leaving the rooftop finally peaceful. While Rentaro feels relief that the chaos has subsided, his face has suffered significant damage from his self-inflicted dives. Hikari quickly patches up Rentaro's battered face from his earlier antics. Though his face is bruised, Rentaro busies himself by doting on the babies. While holding her now sleeping mother close, she begins to wonder if Hahari had a difficult time raising her as a baby. Hearing her musings, Rentaro reassures her, sharing that he has spoken to Hahari about this before. Despite the challenges she faced, Hahari always considered Hikari her ray of hope. Because of this, she endured every hardship, determined to give her daughter the best life possible. Hikari is touched by this revelation, and a distant memory flashes in her mind. She recalls how, as a child, she constantly craved her mother's attention, longing to be close to her. This nostalgic moment deepens her appreciation for Haru's love and sacrifices. The babies eventually return to their original selves. Ahari, however, falls into despair, lamenting that she missed the chance to see everyone else as babies since she had also been turned into one. Some of the girls jokingly remark that Ahari's mental age didn't seem to change much, while others admit that Ahari has always been a bit of a whiner. Meanwhile, Kurumi and Karani find themselves unable to resist staring at Hikari's chest. Hikari takes this moment to apologize to her mother for her earlier harsh words, acknowledging that she had been too critical. In turn, Hikari also apologizes, admitting that she should have been more considerate of Hikari's feelings. Hikari reassures her mother, expressing her love and respect for her. Shika notes how much brighter and freer her mother seems since meeting Rentaro. Hikari encourages Ahari to continue being her true self, especially within their group, where they all provide a safe and supportive space for one another. Ahari's eyes fill with tears, overwhelmed by her daughter's understanding. Their heartfelt moment is interrupted, however, when Kusuri announces she still has one vial of the babification formula left. Ahari's mood instantly shifts to excitement as she declares her intent to use the last dose on everyone so she can take care of them all as babies. Hikari groans, immediately regretting her earlier words of encouragement, but Ahari cheerfully dismisses her, prioritizing her dream of seeing everyone as babies once more. One afternoon, the group gathers to share cookies together. Rentaro enjoys the peaceful moment with his girlfriends, while Kurumi, in particular, beams with happiness at receiving the sweet treat. Hikari teases her, commenting on how Kurumi's eyes sparkle with delight with each bite of her cookie. Embarrassed, Kurumi insists that Nano and Shizuka have prettier eyes than hers. This sparks a wave of compliments among the girls as they begin praising each other's eyes, likening them to gemstones and admiring the unique effects they give off. Rentaro enthusiastically agrees with each comment from the background, proclaiming his love for all their eyes. When Ahari chimes in to compliment Mei's eyes, the mood shifts. The group suddenly realizes that none of them have ever actually seen Mei's eyes open. Mei, with her serene smile and perpetually closed eyes, has kept this detail a mystery. Shizuka asks what color Mei's eyes are, and Ahari remarks that they are rainbow-colored. Kusuri, unable to resist, asks Mei if she can stop smiling and open her eyes so everyone can finally see them. Mei, however, politely refuses, stating that as a maid, she must always appear cheerful to serve her mistress. Ahari gives Mei permission to open her eyes, mentioning that even she hasn't seen them in a long time. But when Mei tries, she finds her muscles unresponsive. Her face is stuck in a smile. Determined, she attempts to force her eyes open using her fingers, but her efforts prove futile. With no other option, Mei excuses herself and announces she will find a scalpel, intending to cut her eyes open. Alarmed, Rentaro and Ahari immediately intervene, begging her to stop. The group begins to wonder how Mei manages to navigate daily life with her eyes always shut. Mei calmly explains that she is, in fact, blind and relies on her other senses to perform her duties. A flower pot suddenly falls from above, and Mei is the first to sense it, catching it just before it hits Rentaro. Rentaro expresses his gratitude and admiration, calling Mei incredible for her sharp awareness. Shizuka, inspired, attempts to scare Mei by raising her arms and shouting, "Boo!" Unfortunately, no one reacts, leaving Shizuka red-faced with embarrassment. Rentaro notices her intent and pretends to be frightened, prompting the others to realize Shizuka's plan to startle Mei into opening her eyes. Kusuri, still curious, pulls out a test tube of melting face medicine. Mei offers to spray it on herself if it would please Ahari, but Ahari quickly declines, not wanting Mei to harm herself. Next, Nano steps forward with a cutter and reveals its blade, making everyone nervous. Standing beside Mei, she pretends to stab her, eliciting a bow of gratitude from Mei to Ahari. The group is momentarily horrified, but Nano reveals the blade was retracted all along. While everyone else breathes a sigh of relief, Shizuka begins to cry, believing Mei is genuinely hurt. Rentaro hugs Shizuka and Nano to console them. Kurumi then offered Mei a sweet bun, hoping that the delight of eating something so delicious would make her eyes snap open. Mei eats the bun after receiving Harry's permission and comments on how delightful it is. Kurumi, disappointed her plan didn't work, laments that she assumed happiness could physically open someone's eyes. Karani points out that such a reaction isn't normal. Rentaro and Hikari consider happiness as a potential trigger and ask Mei what makes her happy. Mei replies that her happiness stems from seeing Ahari happy. Ahari adds that her own happiness comes from being surrounded by the family they built together. Hikari gets an idea and suggests Karani cozy up to Ahari, joking that she can't do it herself because of their blood relation. Though hesitant at first, Karani notices Ahari has the same warm, inviting scent as Hikari. Just as the two are about to share a kiss, Hikari slaps Karani away, much to Ahari's dismay. Kyuzuri and Shizuka hug Hahari to comfort her, making her so happy that Mei sheds a tear of joy for her mistress. Finally, Rentaro decides to try humor, hoping laughter will open Mei's eyes. He tells a silly brain teaser but admits that he stumbled over the words in the story, making Mei laugh. However, her eyes remain shut. He continues the story, revealing that the one who actually messed up the brain teaser was Hahari, causing Mei to immediately stop smiling and open her eyes, revealing they are rainbow-colored. Realizing her smile is gone, Mei quickly shuts her eyes again. The group marvels at how Rentaro managed it. He explains that Mei's loyalty to Hahari is so strong that she cannot bring herself to laugh at her mistress. Noticing Mei's blush, Hahari teases that Mei might have fallen in love with Rentaro. The other girls agree that Rentaro is charming and encourages Mei to join their family. Though hesitant at first, Mei finally confesses her feelings to Rentaro, hoping he will accept her into the family. After her heartfelt confession to Rentaro, Mei arrives at his place bright and early the next day to fulfill a new role, his personal maid for the day. The idea was Hahari's meant to give Mei and Rentaro more time together. Rentaro, while nervous, sees this as a golden opportunity to understand his new girlfriend better. Wanting to make the most of their time, Rentaro asks Mei what she'd like to do. However, as a devoted maid, Mei instinctively turns the car around, heading straight for Hahari, eager to serve her mistress. Rentaro quickly stops her, reminding her that today is about doing something other than serving Hahari. Mei considers this, but then decides to serve Rentaro instead, turning the car around again to head back to his house. Rentaro realizes that Mei truly doesn't know how to prioritize herself. After much coaxing, they are finally driving away from their respective homes, trying to come up with something Mei genuinely enjoys. Since Mei struggles to decide, Rentaro surprises her by taking her to a cherry blossom park. He guides her through a lively food stall area, hoping the atmosphere will help her relax. To make her focus on the moment instead of serving him, he makes an impossible request, a home-cooked meal prepared within 1 minute, assuming she'll give up and enjoy the stalls with him. To his shock, Mei promptly vanishes and returns exactly 1 minute later, presenting him with a lavish bento filled with homemade dishes. Rentaro is astonished and asks how she managed to make it so quickly. Mei, slightly embarrassed, confesses that she had prepared it early in the morning, secretly hoping for a chance to give it to him. Though she intended to let him eat whatever he pleased, she couldn't ignore the opportunity to serve him. Deeply touched, Rentaro eagerly takes a bite of an egg roll and finds it delicious. He noticed the bento is filled with egg-based dishes, his favorite food. Mei admits she had asked Harry about his preferences before they even left, making him feel even more special. However, Mei keeps fidgeting beside Rentaro, unable to relax. Concerned, Rentaro asks what's wrong. She shyly admits that she becomes restless when she isn't given orders. Looking flustered, she even hints that he could command her to do anything, even something that involves physical touches. Completely missing the hint, Rentaro panics, not wanting to give her an unreasonable order. Thinking quickly, he spots a cherry blossom branch nearby and asks Mei to fetch it for him, hoping to hold the delicate flowers. Without hesitation, Mei retrieves the branch and returns, asking which one she should fetch next. A realization strikes Rentaro. He had just treated her like a dog. Guilt washes over him as he berates himself internally, feeling like the worst person alive for giving her such a meaningless command. Trying to correct his mistake, Rentaro quickly changes his approach. Instead of treating Mei like a servant, he instructs her to throw the branch as far as she can. Once she does, he retrieves it himself and hands it back to her, believing this action balances the dynamic between them. However, Mei's usual unwavering smile falters slightly. Having Rentaro fetch something instead of her feels unnatural. She remains puzzled, struggling to comprehend why she isn't allowed to serve him properly. Determined to receive a genuine command, Mei continues to seek guidance. Rentaro, however, refuses to give in. He insists that she should prioritize herself rather than dedicating her entire existence to servitude. Mei, unable to accept this idea, firmly believes that without serving someone, she has no purpose. Seeing her unwavering devotion, Rentaro realizes she will not back down. He relents and agrees to give her an order. Mei's expression immediately brightens. One can easily imagine her having a tail wagging in anticipation. However, Rentaro surprises her with a command that confuses her since he wishes that she not be of any use to him. Her once lively demeanor shifts into one of deep uncertainty, as if the very foundation of her existence has been shaken. She follows his order with silent obedience, sitting before him without movement, unsure of how to proceed. As time passes, Rentaro tells her that having her close to him makes him feel at ease, which in turn contradicts the command. Determined to fulfill the request, she stands up and starts moving farther away. Step by step, she distances herself until she ultimately returns to Hahari's estate, convinced she has finally succeeded. Hahari is caught off guard by Mei's sudden arrival. However, just as Mei begins to relax, she is handed a phone with Rentaro on the other end. The moment she hears his voice, her relief shatters. Rentaro confesses that her absence only makes him think about her more, proving once again that she has still been of use to him. The realization sends Mei into despair. No matter what she does, she cannot escape her usefulness to him. Hahari, confused but concerned, instructs Mei to return to Rentaro. Standing once again in the cherry blossom field, Mei solemnly admits her struggles. She believes there is only one true way to fulfill his order, to end her own life. A long silence follows before Rentaro responds with a surprising revelation. He agrees that if she were to disappear, she would no longer be of use to him, but he refuses to accept such an outcome. He tells her that her existence alone brings joy to those around her. A long-buried memory surfaces in Mei's mind. She recalls the moment Hahari found her broken and on the verge of death. Hahari hugged her tight, offering warmth and reassurance that she was not worthless. Now, with Rentaro standing before her, that warmth returns as he confesses that he loves her and believes that her presence alone is a blessing in his life. Overjoyed by Rentaro's confession, Mei practically radiates happiness, her excitement resembling that of a golden retriever eager to serve, while Rentaro tries to explain that their relationship should be one of mutual love and respect. The next day at school, Rentaro officially reintroduces Mei as his newest girlfriend to the rest of his ever-growing family. The other girls are far from surprised, having expected Mei to join them eventually. Hahari, ecstatic over Mei's official inclusion, takes the opportunity to hand out maid costumes to everyone. Karine initially refused to participate. However, the moment Rentaro expresses his desire to see them in the outfits, she immediately changes her mind and wears the outfit. The group emerges in full maid attire, much to Rentaro's delight. Hikari, Kuzuri, and Shizuka even go the extra mile by giving him an enthusiastic maid cafe-style welcome. The girls, amused by their own costumes, curiously examine the thigh-length skirts, wondering how real maids manage to keep them spotless while working. Seizing the moment, Hahari suggests a water gun battle, secretly hoping to see everyone drenched in their maid outfits. The rules are simple. The last person to remain dry wins a kiss from Rentaro. The mention of the prize immediately ignites a competitive spirit among the girls, with each of them eager to claim victory. Rentaro, however, protests the idea of only kissing one person, much preferring to kiss everyone regardless of the outcome. His plea is ultimately ignored as excitement for the game takes over. Rentaro dons a butler outfit, much to the delight of his girlfriends. Some of them, mesmerized by his appearance, become even more motivated to win. With a sharp blow of the whistle, the game begins. Karine makes the first move, instantly setting her sights on Mei, whom she perceives as the biggest threat. She fires relentlessly, but Mei effortlessly dodges every shot, retaliating with two of her own. Karine finds herself in a precarious position, unable to move freely without exposing herself further. Kuzuri seizes the opportunity and fires at Karine, effectively eliminating her from the game. As Kuzuri celebrates taking out an opponent, she fails to notice Nano lining up a shot. A moment later, Kuzuri is drenched, much to Hahari's glee at the sight of two soaked girls in maid outfits. Hahari snaps pictures of them, eager to make them her new screensavers. As she does, Kurumi takes aim at her, determined to end her reign of terror. However, Hahari, always one step ahead, tosses a red bean-filled bun toward Kurumi. True to her gluttonous nature, Kurumi abandons her water gun mid-battle. A jet of water hits her squarely, so she ends up drenched on the ground and eliminated. With Kurumi out of the game, Nano sees an opportunity to strike and charges toward Hahari. However, Mei intercepts her with a well-placed shot, forcing a confrontation between them. The two engage in an intense duel. Their reflexes hone as if they had spent years training for this exact moment. Realizing that her chances against Mei are slim, Nano shifts tactics and goes after Shizuka instead. Spotting Nano's advance, Shizuka panics and fires wildly, hoping at least one of her erratic shots will hit the target. As Nano prepares to finish Shizuka off at point-blank range, an unexpected splash of water lands directly on her. The onlookers are left stunned against all odds. One of Shizuka's stray shots had miraculously found its mark. Kurumi approaches Shizuka to congratulate her on her impressive luck, but upon closer inspection, she realizes that Shizuka herself is also dripping wet. Apparently, one of her own shots had somehow landed back at her. Accepting their fate, the two decide to pose for a commemorative photo. With only 3 competitors remaining, Mei quickly assesses the situation. Besides herself, the only ones left standing are Hahari and Hikari. However, Hikari has already maneuvered herself into an advantageous position, behind her mother, water gun ready to fire. Hikari, having cleverly played the waiting game, reveals that she had been lying low the entire match, conserving her energy while letting the others eliminate each other. With her mother as a hostage, she issues an ultimatum. Mei must eliminate herself if she wishes to spare Hahari. Prepared to follow the command, May raises her own water gun to shoot herself, but just as she's about to pull the trigger, Hahari shocks them both by suddenly shooting herself. By eliminating herself, she grants May the opening to finish off Hahari. Hahari, now drenched, pushes her chest forward in an exaggerated pose, relishing the way the water clings to her. Karene immediately calls her out, accusing her of enjoying the wet look a little too much. Hahari feigns innocence but then teases Karene, pointing out that she had struck a rather suggestive pose herself when she was hit earlier. As the two bicker, May kneels beside Hahari. Hahari orders May to claim her well-earned prize, a kiss from Rentaro. However, upon closer inspection, Rentaro and the girls realize that May has also been disqualified. While embracing Hahari, she had unknowingly absorbed the water from Hahari's soaked clothes, rendering her just as drenched. Not wanting to disappoint any of his girlfriends, Rentaro makes a bold proclamation that everyone is declared a winner. Each of them eagerly lines up to receive their reward, thrilled at the chance to share a kiss with him. May, having received her first kiss from Rentaro, is especially overjoyed. As Rentaro finishes kissing all of them, he too ends up completely soaked from holding them close, much to the satisfaction of both Hahari and Hahari. Later that afternoon, May shares the deeply emotional story of how she first became Hahari's maid with the rest of Rentaro's family. Rentaro listens intently, moved to tears by the story he is hearing for the first time. Hahari explains that when she first found May, she had offered to adopt her as her own child. However, May had refused, insisting that she wished to serve Hahari instead. Suddenly remembering her first love, Hahari admits that she takes great pride in having saved May's life. However, in her usual playful manner, she adds that her real motivation at the time was that she thought May was simply too adorable to let go. Karene groans in frustration, wishing that Hahari had kept that part to herself, but May appears completely delighted to receive such a compliment. Hahari pats Karene on the shoulder, advising her not to waste her energy trying to understand their mother's eccentric ways. As the day winds down, Hahari pulls May into a warm embrace, pressing their chests together in a way that leaves May flustered and red-faced.